Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. That's Joe Smith. This is uncensored. There's no Adam McCall.
The shackles are off.
The shackles are off. No Macca, but don't worry, we've got you covered, yeah?
More than
we
enough.
are going to be talking about our Premier League predictions. Before the season started, we both made our predictions of how the table would end up, and we're going to be going over it, seeing how right we both were.
Now
because we're obviously always right.
You're a sort of self-claimed expert in these things, so you really came out of the block strong for yours.
Yes.
Yeah, you said, this is the table. You submitted it to the Premier League and you said, work it out for me. Here's the answer. You tell me what the question is.
I gave it to the Premier League and told him, don't bother with the games.
Yeah.
This is it. It's pointless playing all this football.
Yeah.
I've told you what the table's going to look like come the end of the season. Why are you bothering with the games?
You started to go fund me to suspend all games.
Suspend it's
because it's already sorted.
It's sorted.
Yeah.
But he told me to get out of the office.
You called it
He said, we've talked to you about this before. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
It's a restraining order.
You called it a vile waste of money and resources.
Why have you not got any clothes on? This is really weird.
Well, should we start at the top? We've got both of our league tables here.
Why don't we start at the bottom?
All right.
Let's just start at the top. No.
Okay.
Right, who starts at the top? Who do you think you are? Hey, a musician.
Nice, very good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go from the top. Right, first of all, at the foot of the table, you'll notice straight away, coming in with the old Fulham, wasn't I?
Fulham, eh?
Yeah.
You thought Fulham were going to finish bottom. What a loser.
Famously, didn't get relegated this season, Jay.
To be fair, though, right, it's not without merits thinking they were going to struggle.
Yeah.
Because newly promoted team.
Yeah.
Marco Silva's not exactly terrible.
Well, it was Scott Parker at that point,
sorry,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
it wasn't even him.
Who
Forgive me.
I reckon would not have done anywhere near as well as Marco Silva did. So I stand by the fact that if Scott Parker was there all season...
So who was managing Bournemouth at the beginning of the season?
Lee Grant. Wait, who was managing... Wait, Scott Parker used to manage Fulham. Was he not there anymore?
I thought who was managing Bournemouth at the beginning... Scott Parker was managing Bournemouth at the beginning of the season.
Well, that's why I thought that they might go down as well, because I put them in 19th. But we'll get to that. Who was the manager of Fulham at the start of the season?
Was it Marco Silva?
And he's been there all year and he's done a sterling job.
So when I said Marco Silva, I was right. You corrected me with your Lee
Predicted
Parker
position
nonsense.
for me, 20th.
Scott Parker, not even Lee. Lee Grant, by the way. Where'd you get him from?
Predicted position 20th. Actual position, I was half right, 10th.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
So you were... One of your digits was right. So you get a bonus point for that.
Yes, so that's 1 point for me.
That's 1 point for you.
Producer Ethan's got a great job tallying these absolute ludicrous, nonsensical points up at the end of the video.
Yeah, that's true. But that's
1 for me so
that's
far.
What he's here for.
All right, who was yours 20th then?
Mine was Bournemouth.
Ooh.
And unlike Fulham, they were managed by Scott Parker.
Yes.
Until, after his disastrous start to the season, Gary O'Neill took over and they got their act together and rocketed up the table to 15th.
Nothing like ending on a sort of a 4-game losing streak to really rub it in the face of those below you that we could do what the fuck we wanted by the end and we're still staying up. I love that. How is it possible, if you said to me at the end of the season, Bournemouth will end this season losing their last 4 games in a row, I would say there is no way they are safe after that.
Yeah.
That means they're already relegated and they've just lost their heads.
Yeah.
And somehow they were so safe they could lose, or 4 of their last 6 games, they could lose and still stay up.
I mean, the bottom of the table is pretty grim reading. 35 points would have kept you up.
Disgusting.
That shows you, doesn't it?
That shows you the gap.
Yeah, the 40-point thing now is a myth.
Yeah.
So, you had Fulham, I had Bournemouth, and it was actually Southampton. All good things come to an end. And selling all your best players all the time, it's got a short shelf life. Yeah. Also, as well, Hasenhüttl, getting rid of him proved to be the death knell for him. Because they brought in Nathan Jones, who was arguably the worst Premier League manager other than Frank Lampard ever. And I don't even know, who did he end up with Southampton? I can't even remember.
Some of these teams just...
was that... No, they didn't end up with him. He got sacked halfway through the season. He didn't see out the season.
He did like 8 games, didn't he? Ruben Sellers.
Ruben Sellers, thank you,
Some of these teams just sacked their manager and just thought, fucking get anyone in.
Yeah.
Like, how is how is Nathan Jones the plan for a team that is going to be scraping 17th at best? How did they think that's going to work?
Well, to be fair, Joseph, people in glass houses.
Rangnick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we could never get relegated with him. We still
had lots to play for when we decided to go with an experiment. Go with someone who spent 2 of the last 10 years in a dugout.
Tell you what, I thought Rangnick was bad until I saw Lampard at Chelsea.
Right.
We at least finished in European places. Let's move up the table.
Level, right? So the next spot, you've gone with Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Right.
You've gone with Brentford.
I went with Brentford. Out of those two, mine's obviously much, much worse.
Yeah.
Because Brentford finished 9th.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, as we've just said, finished 15th.
Yeah.
So you're not that far off.
No.
I've had a shocker.
A million miles away.
It was actually Leeds who finished second from bottom, which was ace.
Yeah.
Because I've had enough of them. We've had the little bit of Leeds in the Premier League. We've battered them a few times, and now they're getting relegated. Yeah. Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Well, on that note, I actually had Leeds in 18th. Our first, I know the exact position wasn't right, but our first sort of correct category.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I thought Leeds would get relegated, and they did get relegated. You had Forest in there, who, again, you're not a million miles away. They only saved by 4 points, but they did stay up.
So you get an extra point there.
Yeah.
So you're on 2 points now.
I'm on 2 points.
And I'm on 0 points.
You're a big fat zilchoid.
I am a big fat zilchoid.
Until, Jay, the first fully correct position of the day, Everton in 17th. You called it well there.
Yeah, I knew they were going to struggle, but I always thought they'd stay up, so I went with them in 17th. And lo and behold, that's where they are. You went with Brentford, which you were wrong, but you weren't as wrong as I was, because you had them safe at least. But they surprised everyone, didn't they, Brentford? Finishing 9th. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
And I think, maybe not 16th, but I think from 15th to about 10th, it's all just spaghetti, isn't it?
Like, it's just noise.
Yeah, like, I know it was slightly different this season, actually. The gap was bigger, but most seasons, it's usually about 5 points separating 6 teams, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I think it was sort of take it for granted, or take it as read, that no one's ever going to get all of them right, and if you do, it's pure luck. So I had Southampton staying up. Obviously, they were the worst team in the league by quite a bit in the end. I had Forest 14th, which again, not far off. They were 16th.
Where they're so quite close.
Yeah.
Palace 13th, and they were 11th.
Yeah.
Villa 12th, and they finished 7th. So that's probably the one that's the furthest.
Hang on a sec,
terms
Jay.
of.
I'm just looking at the rest of your table. You've done some all right things here.
Go on.
So you got Fulham in 16th, which was wrong. Leeds in 15th, wrong. Wolves in 14th, and they finished 13th, which is a decent shout. And West Ham in 13th, and they finished 14th. You got that East 5-4-4-5 thing going on there.
Yeah, they did me dirty there.
You've done well there.
Yeah, the little mid-table there could have been perfect. Then
arguably your biggest disaster.
Yeah, go on.
Southampton in 12th.
Yeah, I have a bit of a soft spot for Southampton. Some of her in-laws, well, not her in-laws, my in-laws are Southampton fans. I just think that Southampton had one of those teams that just be thereabouts mid-table-ish, or bottom to mid-table. They'll be all right. Didn't expect them to get relegated. They did, as we already mentioned, they had a bit of a stinker. Yeah. Then I've had another stinker, because I had Leicester in 11th.
Yeah, well, we haven't even seen... My Leicester are still way off in the distance, Jay, so I can't say anything.
Imagine having Leicester in 11th. That's the worst anyone could possibly do.
Well, I had Brighton in 11th.
So hang on a minute. Just on the point scheme, what do I get for an exact...
3 points.
3 points, so it's 3-2.
Yeah, it's 3-2.
The boys turned it around.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you've done very
well.
And
have you got any in this sort of mid-table section? Have you got any that are spot on?
I haven't got any spot on ones as such, no. How many have you got? One?
I've got one. I think Everton are the only ones I've got.
Yeah.
I've hit the post there with Wolves and West Ham, but you don't get anything for that.
Absolutely not.
And I've had a stinker with Newcastle.
Yeah, although actually, if we go back to one of the reasons my previous point was awarded, it was for having one of the digits correct, which we've got about 7 of in these, because they all start with a 1. So I think we might have to abandon my initial point. So I'm back to 1. So let's say you're winning 3-1, because otherwise this whole thing is a disgrace. So
that's a good point.
The old sharing a digit point has been redacted halfway through the video. But
following a Premier League investigation.
Yeah, I'm on 1 point. You are on 3 points.
Right, okay.
So I've got West Ham up there. Obviously, they really struggled, finished 14th. Newcastle 9th, again, way higher. Brighton, the same. Mine, I sort of underestimated a lot of teams, I think.
It's easily done. And like you say, it's very difficult. And one big decision can change the course for these teams.
Yes.
Like sticking with or sacking a manager.
Yeah, Haas and Hull, for instance.
For example, Palace getting rid of Vieira, which I would have said would have been a silly thing to do.
Yeah.
It was actually a great idea, because Roy Hodgson came in. They hadn't been scoring goals under Vieira. They started scoring goals straight away, and they finished 11th. I actually gave them a bit too much credit. I thought they were going to finish 8th. Yeah. You had them... Where did you have them? You had them in 13th.
Yeah.
So you're not too far off there.
No.
But had they stuck with Vieira, that could have been a different story.
Right, before we carry on, spring has sprung, Jay, okay?
Yeah.
And the spring...
You make me feel like spring has sprung.
Yeah, and the spring in my pants has sprung with Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-belt grooming. They've got some of the best tools for sorting out your knackers this summer.
That's what you need, yeah?
What?
Because you want to look your best spring, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't want to be sort of doing half measures and leaving it a little bit unkempt. No one likes an unkempt garden, do they?
No.
And no one likes an unkempt pubic area.
Absolutely. And that is why Manscaped will give you 20% off and free shipping using the code Paddock20, our very special code Paddock because of Stretford, Paddock and 20 because of the 20% off. It's simple, really, isn't it,
And
Jay?
20 titles.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. It makes perfect sense. You know what else is perfect?
The Performance Package 4.0 by
Exactly. You don't want the 1.0, the 2.0. Don't be coming at me, with a 3.0. I don't want to hear it.
No.
We're talking about the 4.0. We know what it's got. It's got the weed whacker for your ear and your nose trimmings.
The Lawnmower 4.0, which is basically your one-stop shop for your body hair, isn't it? That thing is taking you to task and bringing you out basically a new man.
This is what we want. We all want to look like a new man down there, don't we? And we do, thanks to Manscaped. You've also got the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, the Crop Reviver Toner, the Boxer Briefs. Yeah. You've got the anti-chafing technology.
Yeah. Oh, your anti-chafing's had a rough week, hasn't she?
She can't get a prescription renewed. She's run out of tablets.
Back in the ambulance.
Yeah, it's not good.
Very red. But anyway, don't worry about anti-chafing. She's fine. The anti-chafing from Manscaped is absolutely elite. And all of that good stuff, the toner, the reviver, the trimmer, the nose hair, the boxers, all comes with the Shed travel bag. So you can take it with you on tour, out with the boys, out for the weekend, on holiday.
Does the Lawnmower 4.0 still have the LED light?
It's got an LED light so you can shave in the dark. And actually, do you know what? Yeah. That light is the sort of thing that you go, and then you're shaving your nuts and you go, this light is genuinely the best thing ever. Because in the past, I used to lay on my back, knees next to my shoulders. Mum, light. She'd come in. You know those dentist lights? She'd hold one of them down, and I'd be zizzing away. And she had to close her eyes. She'd,
it's just hassle, isn't it, man?
And sometimes I think she used to open them and look and see what I was doing.
Really?
Yeah, because she's just a bit of a perv. But now I don't need to involve her at all. It's just me, baby, in the shower with the light, the multifunction on-off switch. So you can put it in your bag, take it away with you, and not worry about it going off in your luggage and people think you're smuggling, I don't know, Vibra toys alongside everything else that you're bringing on holiday with you. Let's just sort of calm down, shall we?
I'm sorry, I don't want to have that image in my head.
So get 20% off.
Your mum holding a dentist's light as you shave your pubes.
Well, Jay, if there was an easier way until now, I would have done it.
Well, there wasn't, but now there is.
Exactly.
Yeah, so go and check out the link in the description. 20% off, free shipping, using the code Paddock20. Manscaped got you covered. Your balls will thank you this spring.
Let's get into these European spots then. And I think the thing we've done here, and I've watched a lot of these videos at the start of the season, and I always like them. And I think this is a trap that a lot of people fall into. Because you're sort of playing the numbers, you end up predicting all of the big teams will finish in the big places.
Yeah.
And that is always not the case. There's always in this season, we've seen Newcastle do it. We've seen Brighton do it. We've seen Leicester do it in the past. We've seen Wolves sneak in the past, I think, into European spots, haven't we? Newcastle have done it before as well. Like, there's always a surprise customer. And it's very rare that anyone predicts that. However, Jay, what I will say, you've got Aston Villa in 7th.
That's another three-pointer.
But they were managed by Steven Gerrard at the start of the season.
Yeah. So I'm sure, right? I need to watch this video again. I'm sure I said he was going to get sacked.
And replaced with Unai Emery.
I didn't say that bit. Well, I can't imagine that I thought Steven Gerrard was going to mastermind a 7th place finish.
So you thought that Aston Villa would be bad enough that Gerrard would get sacked, which presumably for a team like Villa, they're flirting around the relegation zone. You thought they would be bad enough for Gerrard to get sacked, and then good enough to still finish 7th.
I know. I just can't imagine me thinking Steven Gerrard finishes 7th. There's something wrong there.
That genuinely might be the best prediction I've ever seen.
I'd have to double check the
because
footage.
The odds of those two things happening are minuscule.
Because I don't rate Steven Gerrard as a manager, so I don't know why I put him 7th. I think that's why I'm beginning to think.
Get a VAR check on that.
I thought
what did Jay say about Villa?
he would get sacked and someone replaced him, is more likely than me believing he was going to mastermind a 7th-place finish, because I thought he was a terrible manager.
But Unai Emery averaged like over 2 points per game, title challenging form.
I always think, I'm not just saying this, he's had a decent spell at Villa, but he gets disrespected, Unai Emery.
He does.
The whole good evening thing was just crass as well, and I think he did a decent job at Arsenal. Arsenal were a mess anyway. He had some good runs, didn't work out, done really well at Villa, and I think post World Cup they've been like one of the 3rd best teams in the leagues. Yeah. In the league, sorry. So you can't fault it. So 7th, and then you've got Leicester in 7th already. We've obviously covered that.
That's my worst shout. Leicester in 7th and they finished 18th.
This is where
it's horrendous. I'm embarrassed.
This is where me and you are just completely on the same page. We didn't do this together.
No.
But we've got Arsenal in 6th, both of us. Yeah. And let's have it right. Arsenal massively exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
Even the most deluded members of AFTV weren't having him challenging for the title and finishing 2nd.
No.
I think everyone thought the most optimistic fans were saying they'll get top 4.
Or maybe like a distant 2nd.
Yeah.
Where you're never in a title challenge, you're 28 points behind, like one of them seconds.
Yeah,
it's not like they're top of the league for 93% of the season or whatever it was. No one saw that coming.
No.
However, it was still a bad prediction by us.
6 is, it's obviously wrong.
Another disgusting prediction.
This one is the worst one.
Chelsea.
Of all our predictions, this one is the worst.
Yeah.
Because we did not see it coming, but there is a caveat.
The caveat is, if they'd have kept Tuchel, they would be around there.
100%.
How could we have predicted that they would spend another, 300 million quid in January? I think after we did this video, because we did this before the start of the season.
Yeah,
so after we did this video, they still were going ballistic, signing players left, right and centre. Like, I'm not stand by it, because obviously it was a horrendous prediction, but the idea that Chelsea would sack their manager and replace him with a demonstrably worse manager for no reason whatsoever, and then sack him and replace him with a demonstrably worse manager than even the one you've just sacked.
Yeah.
So they started off with Tuchel, they went down to Potter, and then they went down to Lampard for no reason.
No.
Who could have possibly predicted that?
They went around it about the wrong way in terms of Potter. If they'd have got Potter in the summer, gave him a full pre-season, let him have a say on transfers, maybe there's a scenario where I don't think they win a title or a Champions League, but he finishes in Champions League places. I think that could have happened.
Yeah.
The way they did it, to bring him in after the first month or so, to throw all these transfers, these signings at him that he'd obviously didn't want and hadn't requested, then when they finally run out of steam with him, run out of patience, get rid of him for Lampard, it's just the worst way of doing it. Yeah. And I think with Potter, I still think he's a good manager. Yeah. I think he's good at working with a small group of players, scouting players more long term, having a sort of a bit more control over what's going on at a club, like he did, I think, was it Ostersons? Sorry, like he did at Brighton, playing a certain way with sort of players who are either up and coming or maybe slightly past the best.
Yep.
Those are the sort of players he likes to work with. What they did with Chelsea was the complete opposite. Big signings, big money, too many of them, all at once. Fans not really going there as well with not enough credit in the bank to maybe make everyone believe you're that guy. Yeah. He didn't come in with a great CV in terms of trophies won or anything. No. He just came in as this progressive, up-and-coming manager who could or could not be the right guy. Yeah. That's not enough. No. It's like Sarri. When things went wrong for Sarri, no one backed him. He hadn't won out. No, I think he did in the end. He won
that's why you need
with him.
A Jose or whatever. Someone who not only have they done something excellent with the smaller side, and they've only ever managed a smaller side, but they counteract that by he's won the Champions League.
100%.
Like that's, no matter what, you've only managed Porto. Well, yeah, but he's won the biggest
you
trophy
need
in the
that.
world.
It did for Ollie.
Yeah.
And Ollie had won things in Norway, but no one cared about that, really. It was, you've been relegated with Cardiff. Yeah. What are you doing in charge of Manchester United? You're only doing it because of that goal in 99. Yeah. And it kind of sort of starts a narrative off that you can't shake until you win something.
I think it was, obviously, I think he would have found his way anyway, but someone like Pep, for instance, he had a lovely slice of fortune that the team he inherited at Barcelona was man for man the best team in the world. Yeah. And obviously he's proved himself to be one of the greatest managers of all time. And there's, but who knows if he'd have inherited the Barcelona that sort of Ronald Koeman inherited 18 months ago or 2 years ago, whatever it was, maybe there would have been trips and tumbles along the way. And, Graham Potter could be as good a manager, not as Pep, but certainly someone in a higher rung than he's probably now going to have to manage. because of the fact that he's had that step too early and he's fallen further than he was.
The whole thing
job back now,
with Graham Potter as well, he just lost. He seems to lose that little bit of that
charm.
coolness that he had.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, right. Charm's a better word because he's never cool. But having that makeover where he sort of restyled himself.
Did you
just
see the
silly.
tweet about that?
No, go on.
It was someone was like, "Oh, I'm not obsessed with data," but there was a bar, like a little graph that was plotting Chelsea's points or Chelsea's results or whatever, and it was like going up under Potter, and then it had at the peak of it was Graham Potter addresses makeover comments, and then it just went straight down.
And do you know what the worst bit about all that was? Is when he did that fans forum interview, and he asked him about the Champions League, and he said it's to win the fucking thing, and he said it like your grandma swearing. It just didn't seem right.
It was like when the builders come round and you start acting all like hard and normal. Oh, who wants a cup of fucking tea then, lads?
Fucking hell. Watched the soccer last night on the telly.
Bloody love all that. They just roll around, don't they? Pansies, a lot of them, eh?
See that woman over there? She's really pretty.
Ain't she got everything you want in a person? You know. Like that. Like, come on, Graham. What are you doing? Well, let's win the fucking lot.
Let's go
like you because you've got a National Trust membership and you do your homework. Not because you're one of the lads.
No.
You're a geography teacher who's a really good football manager.
Yeah.
But obviously, that wasn't enough. No. Then we go into the top four. And I think this shows, again, United's expectations at the start of the season. We are sort of deluded Man United fans, biased, deluded. I'll take everything thrown at me because I am, and I still could only put Man United in fourth.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same. I always back my team. I always think we're going to win. But I looked at it and I thought, I remember saying to you, there's a scenario. I thought there was a scenario where we improve under Ten Hag and still finish sixth. Yeah. That could happen because all the teams are strengthening, and we were poor last season. And you could see, there could be a scenario where the football's improved and we've brought in younger players or whatever, and the team sort of longer term looks better, but we don't really kick on in league. But we did kick on, and obviously we're both wrong. We're both in the top four, but we both gave Spurs too much credit. I'm surprised with you here because I was more confident in Spurs than you were. You called it.
Yeah.
In your assessment of Spurs, you absolutely nailed it. You said, because I was sat here on this very table in the summer going, look at Spurs. They've brought in Bissouma. They've brought in Perisic. They've brought in Jed Spencer, who we were linked with as well. They then went and got Richarlison. They've gone early in the transfer window.
Won the transfer market.
Conte's got a full pre-season. This is going to work out. That's why I thought they'd finish third. And you said they haven't improved the team. Yeah. Only maybe Perisic gets into the team.
Yeah.
Richarlison, he's not better than Son. Bissouma's not better than Højbjerg. Jed Spence, you don't even know if he's Premier League level, and he wasn't. So they've not kicked on.
It annoys me that, and it feels like
you've given credit.
And I said that, and that's. I think I was allowed to be swayed by public opinion. Right. And I'll tell you what, when we're doing these for next season, it's all me,
because you nailed
baby.
It. Everything you said was right.
Because really, I would have put. To be honest, the annoying thing, I probably would have put Chelsea in, which would have been even worse. But I would have probably put them 6th or 7th had I trusted my gut. Because I thought Conte's too volatile. This actual starting 11 that will be playing 40 games this season together, or whatever, thereabouts, isn't any better than last season's.
No.
Like, how are they going to get so much better? But unfortunately, annoyingly, I got to a point where I ended up putting them third, and I shouldn't have.
There's similarities as well with Chelsea and Spurs in the way they went about the managers, because you had obviously Conte has this row. He also has gallstone operation, whatever. Yeah. Stellini comes in, he's caretaker. Conte gets sacked or leaves. Stellini comes in as permanent, is a disaster. So the interim comes in, an interim manager. Yeah. So they get rid of the interim, replace him with Ryan Mason, who's barely managed
What's
before.
Below an interim?
Yeah.
Just a sort of a blinker him of a manager.
Yeah, blinker him.
He's just here till...
You can't predict that. You can't say, well, Spurs are going to go through 3 managers, 2 of which are just nowhere near the levels you need. So it's Spurs and Chelsea are sort of bracketing the same thing. We both had the Scousers second. And I hate that. Yeah. I'm glad we were wrong and they had an absolute disastrous season. But I hate I gave him so much credit at the beginning of the season. I hate I didn't look between lines and thought, you know what? This could be the start of them unravelling a little bit. Yeah. Because there were signs. They've got an aging midfield. They've got 1 or 2 players who've not been as good as they used to be. Fabinho and Van Dijk aren't the players they used to be.
Firmino's
done, really. Yeah. Trent's very erratic.
They'd lost one of their best players in Mane.
Yeah, so it was possible to see that, and a lot of people did on other channels, and pundits sort of said, oh, maybe they might not be at levels, but I think everyone had him top 4.
And I also think as well,
I didn't see anyone having him outside the top 4.
No, and not to sort of pretend that I couldn't have picked Liverpool to finish 6th. Obviously, I could, but there's always that thing as well with us being a United channel that if you predict your biggest rival to be horrendous, you're opening yourself up for so much like shit. For like basically going, well, people, you only put them there because you don't like them. Like, what are you on about? You're not. This isn't a serious attempt. Like all of that stuff. Like part of me put them there as like if I put them to be 8th or 5th or whatever, he just looked like a bitter United fan who's doesn't know what they're talking about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't want that.
No, I
And
get.
also
To be honest with you, mate, as well, I understand. I don't mind that. I don't mind looking like a bitter United fan. I'll take it. I think a part of me genuinely thought they'd be there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
I did. I thought they're going to be knocking on that door. I didn't think they'd win the league, obviously, because we didn't have them first, but I still feel that Liverpool, Mo Salah gets goals.
Yeah.
Klopp, for all his faults, he's not a
Do you know he's got
awful manager.
30 goals and 15 assists this season?
That's what I mean.
What the fuck?
He should have left them. When they won that
season.
title, he should have gone.
Yeah.
He could have gone anywhere, and he should have.
Yeah.
But he stayed.
He'd have won another
And
Champions League with Real Madrid.
I don't think there's as much. It's weird with Liverpool and Salah. I get the impression that some of the Liverpool fans aren't as enamoured of Salah as they should be. I don't know. They all love him in the sense that he scores loads of goals, but I don't know if there's that tight connection there is sometimes.
Hero,
yeah,
like because he
I
should
think
be on a par
I think
with.
they're more connected to Van Dijk than him.
Yeah,
he seems to get more credit, and there seems to be a little bit more of a bond between him. I might be wrong because I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I've always felt with Salah, he deserves a bit more from them. Yeah. And I don't say that. I'm not saying Liverpool fans aren't passionate. Other than Anfield, the atmosphere, which is terrible, they are passionate fans. I get that. Yeah. But I always felt with him, there wasn't quite that.
No, like it feels like I know obviously he wasn't there as long, but in terms of being pivotal to success, he should be like up there with Gerrard or whatever. As like, well, he's not a local lad. I get all that.
He's won more than Gerrard.
Like, I feel like someone like Robbie Fowler is more loved than Salah. And you think, why?
Yeah, I think there's the whole Fowler coming through the ranks. He's one of theirs. He's a scouser in it. But yeah, I've always felt with Salah. I don't know. It's a bit like, I don't know whether they always expected him to go as well. Whether that sort of played in their mind. Because I'm not saying they don't sing his name. They don't love the fact of love him. They do. I just feel like he's never been as loved as he could have been. And perhaps should have been by them lot. I mean, no doubt Liverpool fans will disagree. City top, both right. So that's the third one I've got spot on. It's your first one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my first.
So is that 9-4 in points?
Well, it's not about points, is it? The league isn't about points, Jay.
That's a good point.
It's about moments.
It's not about points.
It's not about points. It's about moments.
It's sad though, isn't it? It's sad that we both thought City were going to win their third title in a row.
I know, and we were right too.
But the worrying thing is, I'm going to call it now, I think they'll retain it again.
Yeah.
I think they'll do 4 in a row. I'm going to say that now. I hate it, and obviously, I'm almost at a point where I'd want Liverpool to win it over them. I'm not. I don't anyone but Liverpool. But it's just horrible.
What I want before we finish, and you have the right to change this based on the transfer window. We'll do it again before the start of the season. What is your predicted bottom 3 and top 4 for next season? We'll save the full thing, and again, you can change it. This isn't binding. This is just as the season ends, before anyone has made any transfers. How do you see it panning out next season? Obviously, we've got Luton, we've got Sheffield United, and we've got Burnley coming up. And we've obviously lost Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton. How do you see the bottom 3 going next year?
Right, I'll go with.
Sorry, just one last point. This is the first season in Premier League history where none of the promoted teams have been relegated, by the way.
Yeah, so I think Luton will struggle. Yeah. And I hope I'm wrong, because it'd be nice to see someone come up. And I know, a lot of the Arsenal fans, AFTV, a lot of Luton fans, aren't they? So they'll be gunning for him.
They'll be up for it.
Do you know what I mean? So I hope for them lot that they stay up. But I'll go Luton. I can't do it twice to them. Can I?
Bournemouth.
I'll go Luton, Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And I could see Fulham coming unstuck.
Yeah.
I think if again transfers, and we'll do this again for us, if Fulham lose a Paulinho, someone big, Mitrovic, they might, because teams often do really well and then have a stinker.
Sheffield United.
Yeah, so at the moment I'll go Fulham, Bournemouth, Luton. You?
I think Burnley are going to really struggle to translate their new exciting football into the Premier League.
Point.
It's sort of Norwich syndrome.
Yeah.
They score hundreds of goals, or used to score hundreds of goals, get hundreds of points. They play like a proper good team.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to play like a proper good team against actually proper good teams, it can be hard. I think a counter-attacking side, someone like Luton, who they're not really a counter-attacking side, but I think a team willing to counter-attack in the Premier League often will do better than one that is trying to sort of enforce this kind of, sort of exciting style of play. So I think Burnley will go down.
Okay.
I also think, what are Everton going to do?
I think
they aren't sticking with. Are they going to stick with Deitch? I think they might go down.
I think they should give him a full season.
I think that could be the end of him though, because anyway. I'm going to go with Burnley to go down.
No, do you know what? If you think Everton, fair play.
I just can't imagine it though.
I've heard it from Evertonians. They think that sooner or later they're going to get
They're on
found
that.
out.
Do you remember how teams do this where they float around the shitter for a while, and then eventually they just there's not enough left for them to cling on. Sunderland were a perfect example. Wigan another one, where for years it's like 17th, 17th, and then eventually the team has become so constructed in sort of emergency stopgaps to keep you up that you actually look at the team and you zoom out and you look at Everton's team and you go, that's shit.
When I was a youngster, it was Southampton.
Yeah.
They had Letizia get them out of jail all the time. Yeah. And eventually they didn't. They almost went under as a club. They got relegated twice, I think.
Yeah. So I think Everton might go down next season unless they have a really good transfer market. I'm going to go Everton, Burnley and Bournemouth. They're my three to go down next season as it stands. Top four?
Top four.
In order.
In fourth, I'll go... I think Poch knows how to get top four.
Yeah.
I'll go Chelsea fourth.
Yeah.
Third, I'll go Scousers. Second, do you know what? Sack it. Second, I'll go City.
Fuck off.
Top, I'll go United. Why not?
I love it. Arsenal not even top four.
No. They've had their chance this season.
Yeah.
And when Odegaard signs for a better team, a bigger club, it's all over. The party's over.
I'm going to go...
And when Partey gets his collar felt as well, that's that.
I'm going to go... Arsenal fourth.
Yeah.
Liverpool third.
Yeah.
No, you know what? No. Arsenal fourth, Liverpool third.
Yeah.
United second, City first.
I know I said earlier that I think City probably going to retain the title, but I've changed my mind. If Erik ten Hag is back the right way, he's the man. He knows what he's doing.
Is there a world where City finish third and have a bad season?
There is. It's United have done it. United won 3 in a row and then finished third. Yeah. And we bought Ruud van Nistelrooy and Juan Sebastian Veron.
Yeah.
It happens.
Actually, scrap that. I'm changing mine.
Go on.
Liverpool... no. Arsenal fourth.
Yeah.
Liverpool... No, Arsenal fourth. Yeah. City third.
Okay.
Liverpool second, United first.
See, there you go.
And we've won it.
We can't both be wrong.
And Solskjaer has won it.
Yeah, and Solskjaer has won it.
Yeah, we can't both be wrong. We both got it right last year.
Exactly.
Right, that is going to be all from us. This has been Uncensored. Make sure you check out Manscaped. The link to them is in the description. That has been Jay. I have been Joe. Those have been our embarrassing, awful, horrendous league predictions. We'll see you in a bit.